In the cold of winter, when the harvests have come and gone, the people pray that the cold will not take more than they can afford. All the world seems quieter. Still, in the dark nights and short days, Olympus becomes more exciting. The gods that live in different locations, those that flit across the world, come together back to Olympus, back to where I reside. I am Hestia, goddess of the hearth. I warm the mortal homes, bring them comfort and sustenance in the bitter times. I am all that allows them to give sacrifice to my family. More offerings are given in the darkest times. Sickness, hunger, desperation, it all brings more mortals to our attention. But the winter does not just bring darkness and sorrow. For celebrations and festivals occur to bring all together and shed light on their communities. But as the humans gather in the winter, so too do the gods. In the grand hall, deep in cups of wine and raucous conversation, are my siblings and nephew. Poseidon, with his bellowing laugh and brash snide remarks. Absolutely drunk already, through massive efforts, ambrosia and wine since dawn have made its mark. Our nephew Dionysus had joined him. The god of wine had of course encouraged his drinking and pushed his jokes further. The third in the trio surprised me. Demeter, a cup in her hand also, more empty vessels at her feet. She was quieter than the other two. Moments throughout the day, her eyes drifted to the horizon, and a sadness would settle in them. Persephone had gone back to the underworld, to her husband, and she always took the loss quite hard. Yet, to sit and drink with them, the god of wine and the god of the seas, it is out of character. I usually stick to my fire and the edges of celebrations. Yet I could not help myself. My curiosity pushed me to settle in a chair beside them and watch. See the oddity up close, perhaps understand it.
Ah, Hestia, have you come to join the party, sister? Have a drink and join us. Perhaps you'd like to join the betting.
I took the cup that Poseidon held out. Dionysus poured heartily. I tried to get it out of his reach before it spilt over the brim. Demeter finished her own and held it out to be refilled. Dionysus happily obliged. Finishing the cask, he held the empty vessel aloft. Poseidon's hand snatched it and threw it against the opposite wall. The glass shattered with a crack, and great laughter followed. I took a gulp and held my wince at the strength. I asked aloud, "So, what gathers you three here? Sister, it is not oft I see you, let alone with these troublemakers."
Ah, Hestia, the lady of the hearth can burn us all with barbs after all. But we all have a vested interest in these times, though it is, of course, my time. Poseidonia, as the mortals say. Humbly, I can admit that my season is shared. The humans join together to feast and festival in all our names. Though we all know the mortals worship me above these two. They know who is the most important and influential.
Dionysus responded with a scoff. Demeter spoke then.
"Brother, this is why we argue. They celebrate in all our names, but you are not the most important. Without my influence, they would not survive. As is every year, we shall wait for the sacrifice and offerings. Then, brother, we shall see who triumphs. Who is most important to the mortal world?" Demeter leant over to me and said, It is me, but I do not need to scream it to the world.
Now, sister, you share with Dionysus, and your Aloha is only celebrated in Eleusis. But you are right. We shall let the tally and score decide. After each of our festivals are done, another mark shall be added, and the winner will triumph.
He brought his hand up to himself with a smug grin. Demeter waved her hand dismissively, and Dionysus rolled his eyes.
Aye. Care to place a bet on this year's winner?
I do not quite understand. You are all receiving sacrifices and celebrations, yes? And you do so every year, no? Then surely the cycle is never ending. What is the point of winning or losing?
Yes, sister, this is all true. But it is a bet we have each year. Who gets the most tribute, the best procession, the most impressive sacrifices? It is a jest. A laugh to keep us amused in the slower season. But also, the winners receive a boon from the losers, to be given for something small or something large that they want that year. I have won the last 2 years.
And it has cost us both greatly. Through pride and power, he does make a mockery of us each year he wins.
My victory is almost assured, but we gather and drink and rack up the points for pride and fun. Bragging rights, as the most beloved winter god, are always a gift. And though Demeter and Dionysus insist they are loved above me, this year shall further my reign. I shall hold the title as most beloved this year. And what sense it makes, with all our celebrations, in the month of my name.
Come, Poseidon, your loud mouth shall embarrass you this year. For though you have won last, I have won most. You have been the fool before, and you will be the fool again.
Dionysus perked up and interrupted.
Only because I was the last to join you in Olympus. You have time and years from before me, yet my tallies and scores are creeping up. My gifts are so celebrated and valued. One could argue that they are loved above you, uncle.
Your gifts would not be delivered if it were not for my blessings. I am nature, agriculture. The vines that you gave them would be nothing without my influence, child. Besides, those shepherds were hardly thanking your Icarius. Remember him?
Poseidon and Demeter both burst into laughter. Dionysus pouted. He hid his face in his cup. Yet, I was still lost. Bets. Competition. But we are all given sacrifice. The mortals all send tribute and offering. None are truly loved above any other. But if one were to compare, how could it be fair? We all receive different forms.
True, dear sister. It is hard to compare offerings, but we have found our own way. The times of each festival, with the Aloha of Demeter and Dionysus has his Dionysia, celebrated in cities and countrysides alike. But we enjoy it. The competition of mortal love. Tally up the prayers and thoughts, burnt offerings and drinks had. The laughs and merriment in our names. Each feeling is a light, a fire in the winter's darkness, and we laugh and joke of who is loved the most. For the best is to let the mortals decide. It makes the festivals a time of listening to them, seeing to their fears and woes, and bringing hope. And the greatest winter festival is, of course, my own, the Poseidonia.
He does it for bragging rights. I compete to keep this head of his from getting so big. We all know the Aloha is more fun than all his pomp and procession. I know the women of Eleusis need my celebration, and they love it far greater than your ocean beach fires. I do contest that Dionysus shares in some of the praise. For the jokes, foods, and tastings of wine do add something to the whole affair. The basest jokes of raunchy nature are shared, all the quicker with wine as a lubrication. Though your wines are but a decorative addition to the main event. But drunken audiences laugh harder at the lusty lyricisms and genitalia-shaped desserts.
I thank you, Aunt. It is nice to hear my creations are appreciated, especially after the stinging barb that is the name Icarius. He brings back painful memories. I shall try not to brag of the Dionysia's wide reach, with multiple ceremonies in the city and in the countryside that celebrate in my name. Eleusis is but one locale.
How clever, little nephew. In not saying something, you've said it perfectly plainly. He thinks himself so intelligent. You are as subtle as an ass, nephew.
Subtlety is not my forte, it seems, but I blame the wine. I should not have challenged Poseidon to a drinking contest earlier. I am paying for it now, clearly. Ambrosia goes to my head faster than my wines, but I am still sharp when needed. Hestia, what say you? Why do you come to ask what we do? Do you not know the wider festivities after all? For your flame is at every sacrifice, no?
Though my flames be everywhere, in all the hearths and homes, it may light the bonfires that deliver your goods, but I do not hear all. The voices that whisper by flames in times of cold all merge together. Imagine every voice you hear speaking all at once. Though I have the power to focus, find individuals and hear all their meaning, it takes time to absorb and control, effort to focus on each without confusion. It is a near constant haze of noise. I know snippets, basics, but festivals are so big, so many flames, so many voices. I block them out, then absorb them over time. Winter is my time to work, but also my own mind must rest. I may be the sacrificial fire, yet I do not know all the winter festivities that humans share in. I focus on the flames. The large feasts and celebrations are just too much. The social games I prefer to observe only. I do not play unless things go too far. I am the walls of the home that watch and shelter. My life is here, and I do not venture out into the mortal world, the surface of Gaia. But I would like to know more. What is each festival like? What would it be like to walk among them and feel it? What happens in each? You three would know best after all. I do not tell them of the secrets I hear and all the hushed conversations with ill intent. Those are my own. Mortal chatter does not worry me, but the whispered words of gods are different. I consider myself a silent observer and peacemaker. With the family, someone must keep a close eye and stick us all together. Zeus does his best, and he is good, but people do not give all their petty grievances to their king. This open and exaggerated betting. The competition of the trio seems harmless, but how often grievances can grow and fester. What if this competition turns into a feud, A full fight with sides, and a battle. I hope it does not go too far. Poseidon spoke first.
As a god of the seas, the ocean is at its most treacherous in winter. The humans have more of a need for fish in times when naught grows from the ground. Yet many are lost to sea storms, more than those that starve, thanks to my blessings. They wish for food protection, but if you were at my festival, sister, imagine the wind on your face, the smell of the sea on the cold air, a procession with music and statues, all the townsfolk together head to the beaches. In droves they go. There they build fires and bring feasts. They sup on the flesh of fish and sea treasures, clams and mussels and oysters and cockles. Crowds then gather around huge bonfires that light in the darkening skies. As a mortal, perhaps you have come to pray for calm seas, a full net and easy winter. Many could not fish at all before the sacrifices, but with their offerings I am appeased. They lull me to stir the ocean no more, and grant them safe passage. Bulls with jet-black fur are some of my favourite offerings, and often they bring 9 of the majestic beasts and bleed them on the sands. As music roars, so too do the fires, and the flames are reflected on my waters. It is a glorious affair, so massive, immense, and impressive, all for the love of me.
I wish I could see it, brother. I promise to listen through the flames so I can hear the joy myself.
Come now, brother, it is their fear that leads them to the flames, afraid of your wrath, that your anger will come to create the storm that ends their lives. Mortals are love and terror both, especially in winter times. My daughter's absence is felt by all. When she takes the flowers, it's like she takes happiness itself with her. When the mortals need her most, she always has to go back to that prison.
We all fell quiet then. Demeter emptied her cup, and it fell from her hands to clatter on the stone. She took a quick breath, steeled her sorrowful gaze to become neutral again. Then she began.
My celebration is smaller, not as vast as yours, brother, but meaning is far greater. The Aloha is celebrated by the women in Eleusis. As the others have said, they gather upon the threshing floor, the place they have separated the wheat from chaff. All the inedible with the edible. There they rejoice in the harvest and the storing of the crop. The first wines of the seasons have fermented enough to crack and taste. But this is the latest edition thanks to young Dionysus. Its main focus is harvest, but also fertility. No sacrifice of animals or flesh is permitted, be it living or vegetation. Flesh of pomegranates, for example.
The cup at her feet went flying then, kicked and thrown to smash against the wall.
Are not allowed at my feast. The threshing floor where so much labour has been toiled on is now the floor for rest, for dancing, for jokes and drinks. A great relief is felt, for this light in the darkness brings hope. The food they have stored is all safe for winter, the chores now done and their futures more certain. It brings peace, a comfort after weeks of fearful work. And the food, the plants and delicately cooked creations are shared among them. Exchanges of rude and base jokes are a necessity. Allusions to the activities of the night send giggles and cackles from both young and old. The cakes resemble private parts and spur the jokes on further.
Really, sister, I would not expect such of you.
And why not? It is a gift. We all must let off steam. The stress of survival and worries can plague one's mind. Without levity, joy, and laughter, hope is scarce. And sometimes, hope is all that pushes you through the tough times. Something to hold on to push through it and survive to better days. The smiles and laughs of the women, somehow they always remind me of her, Persephone. The libation of Dionysus eases the absent sun. And this feast helps distract, helps me wait for my better days. Winter can be long without her and the beauty that she brings. But if you do not know of our festivals, do you even know of Icarius, sister? How did Dionysus bestow wine on the mortals? It is quite a tale.
She said that last part quickly. She looked over to Dionysus and was happy to push him under the spotlight. I did not recognize the name Icarius, but I did know the name Ampelos. Dionysus has oft sung songs or sorrowed with the name Ampelos on his lips. Always alone, always by a fire. I do not bring it up. It is private, and clearly the other two would use it as another barb against him. As the youngest, I do not wish to give them more ammunition. I looked at Dionysus. He sighed, finished his cup with a gulp, and began.
Icarius was a man in Attica. I gave him a sprig of grapevine, taught him how to create the juice and how to ferment it. I taught him the art of wine making. The wine of the province there grew sweet and strong. Their full-bodied reds are like no other. But he was a slow learner, but he did well, once shown the right soils. It all comes together, you see. The humidity and rainfall, the soil and sun, all comes to affect the flavour. You know the grapes that he cultivated have gone to... There he goes again. Yes, yes. You love your creation and all the forms it takes. You could go on for hours about it, all poetic, like you are a muse yourself. So inspired by your work, you cannot help but fall to poetics. Get to the meat of the story, I beg you. I cannot hear another word about bloody plants. Fine. I shared the craft of wine with Icarius and moved on in my travels. Icarius was so excited with his new gifts, he was brimming with pride. He invited neighbours and friends, shepherds that worked and lived close by. All came. They all partook of his first fermented and cultivated brew, but they did not understand the effects. Icarius had not warned them. The sweet drunkenness followed. The more they consumed, the more they felt it. With no foreknowledge, they assumed it was poison. The idea took hold, and soon they all believed that they were doomed to death. The crowd fell into histrionics. From confusion to shock to disbelief, it shifted to settle on anger and blame. Icarius desperately tried to explain himself. No poison in the brew, but alcohol. But they did not listen. They would not. The crowd of shepherds lunged at him, stubborn in their drunken delusions. They all wanted a piece of him. But with so much wine in their systems, their logic was overwhelmed with emotion. They could not control themselves. As if gripped by madness, they tore at Icarius. He begged them to stop, but they did not, and he was in pieces across the field, His blood watered the grass when it finally ended. At dawn, the shepherds were cursed with a hangover and a realization. Icarius had been right, and yet they had still killed him. The blood-stained hands and mushed-up organs confirmed it. So, I did not let them go unpunished.
The empty vessel in his hands cracked and shattered. Pieces clattered to the floor as we looked at Dionysus's dark expression. I put my hand on his shoulder, and his gaze turned to me. A story for another time, nephew. I am sorry for your loss of Icarius. He must have been a dear friend. Let us talk of happier things. What of your celebrations? The Dionysia?
Yes, celebrated in the countryside in winter, but the cities in spring. Both have processions and sacrifices of the usual ceremony, but rural Dionysia is all about community, pride in your home, rejoicing in agriculture and fertility, a nod to Demeter and our connected ceremonies. She does not keep all the japes and cakes to herself, and of course, wine. We have great baskets of breads and home-cooked delights, nuts and meats, vegetables and oats. Locals come together to sing hymns, dance and perform plays, from comedies to tragedies that leave you in tears. But the satyr plays are my favourites. Crude, humid plays, yet they mix the form of sorrow and the levity of comedy, laughter and sadness together. It elevates the whole experience. With salacious jokes from the chorus of satyrs, they are the greatest. I wish you could see them, sister. Perhaps one day you shall. And the city Dionysia is similar to the ones all celebrated across the countryside. They do not count at all towards a competition. The city Dionysia are in the spring, not winter at all. Which is why I do not add to the tally, uncle. I do not need to cheat, but I shall explain the difference for Hestia. As I was saying, it is much the same, only grander. Bigger and with more competition, for the plays and actors gather from all around to perform and decree who is the best. But it is not spiteful, it is encouraging. It pushes good actors to do better, inspires playwrights to extraordinary works. Much like this small competition, it pushes us in a way to be better to our followers, listen to their needs, and help them as best we can. What a romantic view you have! I wish to prove I'm the best, no more, no less. But you would do better to remember, we are to keep mortals in line. We are not wish-granters, we are arbiters of the world. Powerful, but not dream-granters to the mortals. We are more like shepherds. You must think of the flock. You cannot be at their individual beck and call all the time. Besides, humans don't always know what they want, or what's good for them. Sometimes the best you can do is to teach them. Leave them be, to make their own way and own mistakes. You let your time among them paint your perspective. Be careful you do not let it blind you to the bigger picture at large.
That's rather insightful, brother.
Do not sound so surprised, sister.
But I still do not quite understand. If Demeter has no flesh sacrifice and Poseidon has many, how is it tallied or scored?
In the people, in their hearts and souls, if they feel hope, joy, and love after our celebrations, that is the score and tally, though it varies Offerings and sacrifices are grand, but so is the intent. One small berry from a little girl who believes so much can be better than 5 bulls given in obligation.
One berry does not compare to 5 bulls.
But you understand the point I am trying to relay. It is about the effect of our festivals, not on number alone, or you two would win every year. I think I understand now. But if that be the case, what are the scores and tallies as of right now?
I am winning.
I am in a close second and gaining.
I am in last place. But there is still plenty of winter and plenty of revel to come. It is not over yet. It has barely begun.
I reached out through the fires and heard the people, the music, the laughter, the joy around my flames. Then I heard 2 voices, chuckling above the rest. Somewhere in Olympus, Zeus was having a conversation by a fire. There he whispered to the world, the grandmother herself, Gaia. Of all the gods, she is the most important and loved. I could hear the king's quiet giggling as my siblings were talking. He was just outside the door, had heard all the bickering and arguments, Poseidon's great ego, Demeter's harsh barbs, Dionysus's grape ramblings, and he had summoned the consciousness of the grandmother to witness. There, like co-conspirators, they listened and laughed. I needn't worry over the competition. As they said, it is just a joke, and one everyone can enjoy. It seems even we gods need to let off steam. Competition can be a good thing at times, as long as it's not taken too seriously. I finished my cup and spent the rest of the night listening to their empty fighting. In a way, it's good for them. Winter celebrations and family feuds, they go hand in hand. But the stories of seasons to come are tales for another time.
Living Mythology videos are brought to you by Baldermort and Lightbringer. If you enjoyed this video, then please consider liking and subscribing, or even sharing it as an offering to the great gods of the algorithm. If you wish to support the channel, then we have a Patreon link in the pinned comment, or do consider giving a one-off super thanks if we have indeed earned your bounty. Until next time, fare thee well and dream amazing dreams.